The movie kicks off with a deadly game where the host has kidnapped a girl and tied her to a chair because she lost the game, so now she has to die. This guy is streaming it on the dark web, and the audience is actually entertained by this dangerous game. On the table in front of him, there are 3 types of weapons. The host tells the viewers that whoever sends him the most money, he'll use their choice of weapon to murder the girl live. One girl sent him $5 and asks him to kill her with a chain. These people just keep watching without a care. After a lot of struggle, they finally managed to take down 100 points and killed that girl right in front of everyone. At the same time, the police got wind of this game and rushed to the same spot to stop it. But apart from 2 people, they didn't find anyone else. They searched around and only found 1 kid in a container. It seemed like everyone else had already fled before the police arrived. Then the scene cuts, and we see what happened a little earlier. Ben, exhausted, had just gotten home when he heard that the guy had started the game again. He immediately rushed to the police station where all the officers were watching the game on the dark web. The same presenter who had been successfully eluding them had kidnapped people and was forcing them to play rock paper scissors. Both of them knew that after this game, their lives were on the line. If they didn't play, they would get tortured. When they did play, the girl kept losing, which meant she was about to be killed. This was the same scene that had been shown at the start of the movie. As they watch these guys getting ready to take out the girl from the chain's house, Ben rushes over to his cybersecurity team and tells them to track the presenter. But the bad news is that the presenter is using a system that even the police can't trace. Every location they track turns out to be wrong, allowing him to escape. With each passing moment, he's getting more and more intent on taking innocent lives. Then we cut to a lady named Art, who's starting her first day on the job. She really impressed the customers. They made a good deal, and just then, a worker named Sophia came over to him. The scene cuts there, and we see the show's presenter who was keeping a close eye on Tia. He was also watching 3 other people, probably planning to kidnap them too. Meanwhile, we see Ben, who is still watching the presenter's old show. In the background, he spots some people, and when he investigates, he finds out that they were also kidnapped. So, it seems the presenter has killed as many people as he's taken. She was saying that he used to illegally kidnap people after work. Katya was finally getting ready to head home, but Sophia stopped her because it was her first day on the job, and Sophia wanted to spend some time with her. Katya said, "I can't stay because my son and my mom are probably waiting for me at home." But after Sophia insisted a lot, she agreed to stop for a juice. They chatted, and just as Katya was about to leave, we noticed the presenter alerting his team to stay on their toes. Katya had already been warned that once they reached a deserted spot, they would all jump her and knock her out. After that, we see that Katya has also been brought to the station where that presenter used to do his show. When she comes to, she freaks out, but before she can scream, a guy pokes his head out from under a blanket and tells her to keep it down. He explains that if anyone makes noise, they'll shoot them with a taser. Katya was really worried. She knew her son and mom were waiting for her at home. She asked the guy, "Who are these people? Those who have us tied up here later tell me that I don't know much about this either. I was also kidnapped, and when I came to my senses and started speaking, they zapped me with a taser. I saw that the presenter was publishing videos of these people being kidnapped on their account." Seeing this, my sister got really angry and told her team to gather all the information about these people, where they worked, and from where they were kidnapped. This case has turned into a complete mess. He was struggling to find any leads or clues on where to catch the presenter. Then, an idea popped into his head for solving the case. He went to see a prisoner he had arrested himself, who was involved in a dark web case. This guy had actually killed someone from the dark web. He knew how to catch people from that underworld pretty well. He shows the prisoner pictures of the kidnapped people and talks about the show. He wanted the prisoner to help him catch the presenter, but all of Ben's hopes were resting on this. The guy had broken it down, saying that this dude was the strongest man in the dark web, and catching him was impossible. He mentioned that he probably knew the cops were already on his tail, so he always had backups, which is why the police couldn't catch him. Feeling hopeless, Ben returned to his office and found out that the presenter had kidnapped 2 more people. He was just pushing his game further, taking innocent lives, while the police were still just sitting on their hands. Then the scene cuts to show what the presenter had done. He had started his second show this time, and there were a lot of contestants. He even called Thea here and placed a gun in front of all the contestants. He told the viewers that today's game was going to be really fun. There was only 1 bullet in the gun, and with 6 contestants, whoever was unlucky would be shot. The game started, and the contestants were told to put the gun to their heads and pull the trigger one by one. Everyone took their turn pulling the trigger, and when Katya pulled the trigger, the gun was empty. But as soon as another contestant, when the trigger was pulled, the gun went off and his brain exploded. He died right there. for one of the other contestants, instead of a bullet, a flag came out, and they said that this guy had already lost the game. This is how people were getting killed based on the audience's wishes. Then a girl from the audience donated $500 and asked for that guy to be killed with bleach. Since she had donated the most money, they agreed to her request, and they poured bleach on him, which burned all his organs, and he died. The next day, the newspaper showed how it all went down. The game show is killing people, but the cops haven't done anything yet. Since the police couldn't solve the case, the FBI got involved, and the presenter caught wind of it too. The presenter was paying close attention to everything. Meanwhile, another inmate named Sasha, who's with Kadiya, hatches a plan for them to escape, because if they stay, they're definitely going to die. They decide that when the people come to get them, they'll take them out and grab their guns, then make a run for it. The presenter had heard everything, and after that, he called Katya into his office. He told her, "Don't you know it's not allowed to talk here? You've messed things up by speaking out, and now I'm not going to punish you. I'll give it to the girl next to you instead, so your guilt keeps you from making mistakes again." Then, those people came back on screen live, and the girl who was supposed to be punished got whipped on her feet in front of everyone. Watching her suffer seemed to satisfy the audience, and they were cheering loudly. Ben was watching the show, where even the FBI couldn't track these people's location. Now he's gone back to that inmate he asked for help before. He asks the inmate what this guy who's playing games really wants. The inmate says he doesn't want anything. He's just enjoying making people suffer. He thinks that by doing this, he'll become famous, and once he is, he wants to turn everyone into his kind of people. Those who love inflicting pain and get happy by hurting others. It shows that now the FBI is involved. There was a media conference where they expressed their embarrassment, saying they still hadn't been able to track the guy's location, but would catch him soon. It was clear the presenter was paying close attention to the press conference. Meanwhile, we see the sister who had come home for a surprise. His wife had found out they were going to have a baby girl. He should have been happy hearing that, but he couldn't show it because he was too wrapped up in the case. His wife started feeling like maybe he wasn't happy with his family and their daughter. Then we see the presenter again showing pictures of 4 people and saying that the next day he's going to cut them off, which was basically a direct threat to the police. At the same time, he was giving them a chance to catch him. The police immediately started tracking the locations of the people he wanted to kidnap. Just then, when Ben walked into the office, the media surrounded him. As soon as the presenter saw Ben's footage, It's shocking how a regular cop is so deeply involved in this case. He digs up information and finds out that Ben's mom and sister were brutally murdered, and Ben couldn't save them. He really regrets that, and to make up for it, he's now on a mission to save innocent lives. Finally, the presenter has even managed to kidnap those people he threatened the day before, and there's a little girl among them who watched the show and feels. He was saying that the people from the show wouldn't do anything to her, but the presenter told her that now that she's in this game, she's not a fan anymore. She's become a victim of the show, and just like everyone else here, she'd be treated the same way. With that, he turned to the cameras and started telling the viewers that today they're going to play a dodgeball game where these gamers have to throw balls at each other, and the others have to avoid getting hit. If anyone gets hit by a ball, they're out. This is where the game starts. They hit the ball around, and a lot of people end up losing here. When it's finally the turn of a little girl and an old man, the old man just tosses the ball down instead of hitting it. The presenter asks him why he didn't hit the girl, and he says he gives up. He can't bring himself to do it. Seeing this, the presenter tells him that the game isn't played by his rules. The old man finds a sharp piece of wire nearby and hides it in his shoe. Days go by, and no one on the show is making any moves for a long time. As soon as his show goes live, not just his sister but all the cops and FBI agents start tuning in. Now that the presenter knows about the ban, he keeps bringing it up during the show. He's also figured out that the cops are watching, so he's telling them, along with the viewers, that the old guy broke the rules the other day, which means both their lives are on the line now. But Ben can save one of them if he decides who to sacrifice. Everyone's trying to talk him out of it. They said not to make a choice, but then the presenter mentioned that if Ben didn't choose anything, both of them would be killed. To save one person, the sister immediately pressed the button for 2. The girl was on the second number, and as soon as she pressed her button, she was shot and killed. By then, the police had also reached her location, but when they got there, they found out that the show wasn't even happening at the location they were given. Laughing, the presenter revealed that they had played a game with them. Getting to his location was impossible because he had given them the wrong one. As soon as this was said, the show wraps up right here. On the other side, we see that old man who now feels responsible for that kid's death. So, he takes the sharp wires he had hidden in his feet and commits suicide. When everyone sees that old man dead, they feel a lot of sorrow. Meanwhile, Ben is shown to be in deep shock because he feels responsible for the innocent girl's death. He wants to get out of this guilt and do something, so as he was heading out for the office, he received a parcel at his gate. He knew the presenter must have sent it because he had been trying to drag Ben into all this repeatedly. We see that the presenter himself has come to Katya. He tells her, "Today is your day to die. If you want, you can talk to your little one." She was shocked to hear that. She called her son, little one, and wondered how he knew that. It hit her that she had last mentioned this to her coworker. Anyway, the presenter then took her to the owner. She was asked who she was remembering, and Katya said she was thinking about her son and her coworker. Ben recalled the history. He had investigated her before. She had only worked there for one day. If she mentioned her colleague, that must be a hint for Ben that her coworker is involved in all this too. He immediately goes to meet her colleague, Sofia. At first, Sofia doesn't want to talk to him, but then she writes some notes and tells Ben that these people have kidnapped her son too. He can see them through the camera. What he did with Katya had become a necessity for him. I asked him at that moment, when you went to get your son released, where was he? Sofia pointed out the place to him. He understood that the presenter must have been doing the show there. Without telling anyone, he reached that spot. Before leaving, he had also called backup police. Meanwhile, we see in the show that while all the contestants were playing a game, they were given guns. All the contestants had decided to do this together. Instead of freeing themselves, they started shooting at the people here. In response, the security guards fired back, and two gamers ended up getting killed. But Teen made a good attempt to escape, and Katya was with him. As they were trying to get outside, a guard caught Sasha. Katya stopped to help him, but Sasha told her to run and inform the police about their location. She was about to leave when Katya was in a panic, and he reassured her that backup police were on their way and everything would be fine. But now, he hit Katya and moved forward. The presenter was sitting inside a room at that time. When he saw him, the presenter said, "If you've got the guts, shoot me." Without a second thought, he immediately shot and killed him. As he got closer, he pulled off the mask, only to find that the presenter wasn't there at all. Instead, a helpless girl had been trapped and left there before the presenter even arrived. He had already left, and all of this was happening live on the show. The viewers started laughing at it, and Ben became the butt of the joke. It showed that the police had arrived. They rescued Katya, but they didn't find anyone else there. Outside, the presenter's wife was waiting for him. He got into the car, and she drove him away from the scene. It turned out that the presenter's wife was none other than Sofia, and she had been the one behind the whole plan to set up Ben working together with the presenter to promote the movie. In the credits scene, we see the presenter from George on Year Again, who announces that he's bringing season 2 of the show. This gets the viewers really excited, and a new challenge arises for the police. And that's how the story wraps up here.